does gender equality fit into intersectionality, and why is this important? You are listening to Gender Equality Over Coffee. I'm 𝘁𝗵𝗲𝗶.
And I'm Ramon. We invite organizations and role models that strive for a more inclusive world to answer this question.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast episode on gender equality over coffee. And a very warm welcome to our guest today. Hi, Paulina.
Hi everyone. Hi 𝘁𝗵𝗲𝗶. Hi Ramon.
Great. Nice to have you on. As I was telling Ramon before, we met briefly at the Startup Life event, actually in February, I think it was.
Exactly.
And we also got in touch over Women Tech Makers in partnership with the Female Factor. So actually, we have quite some common points by now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's definitely worth for you to tell your story on the podcast, because you're like super active in a lot of communities that empower females. So like, I'm super happy to have you. Can you please tell us 3 random things about yourself?
So firstly, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. And I'm super excited to have a chat with you and just share my experience. I think this is the goal. So yeah, my name is Paulina Kania, and 3 random things. So the first one, that I love summer or spring or warm weather. That's why every year I'm trying to skip the weather in the Central Europe and moving for some few months to the warm place. So actually right now I'm tuning in from Gran Canaria, from Las Palmas to Gran Canaria in Spain. So if you know, there are islands just very close by to Africa, Sahara. So we have nice weather, plus 25 degrees. So spending my all after work time on the beach. This is what I love.
You're a dream, Paulina.
Yeah, and sending you lots of sun right now. I hope the weather in Vienna also gets better, so I will be back in May.
We hope so too.
Yeah, it has to be. So that's why I'm trying to design my life to work during the winter in warmer country, working remotely, especially now it's a great possibility to do so. And yeah, coming back summertime, Vienna. And yeah, this is the first. The second random thing is that, yes, so I am Polish. I left Poland like around 8 years ago and studying different countries. And I fall in love with Vienna, the city, the quality of life. And that's why I live in Vienna normally almost for all the year. And yeah, but my heart, I felt like I was born a bit in the wrong country, because I'm really feeling more Latina in my heart, as dancing, listening to Latin music, dancing salsa, bachata, having friends, dates all around the Latin.
I see. So, makes sense that you move south in that case.
Exactly. That's why it's like winter is on the south. Yes, and so yeah, and when I was a child, actually, instead of walking, I was already like dancing, you know. I was not walking, I was actually walking and dancing on the street. So and it didn't change, actually, when I'm still in Vienna and waiting for the bus. I'm still moving myself and walking and however, people, they look at me like, okay, that's strange. That's why in Latin America, especially when I was in Cuba, I was feeling like home. Everyone was dancing on the street. So yeah, that's the very 3 random things about me.
I love this zest for life that you have, Paulina. Like everything's rhythmical, fun, musical. I love it. I think this kind of energy is probably in some way or another inside all of us, sometimes wanting to get out. And That's wonderful to hear. I think this summer lifestyle, especially given the long winter we've had, is something I personally cannot wait for.
But then,
Can't
you
agree
know,
more.
we appreciate it even more. Yeah. So like this
Yes.
is like, wow, we want to be all the time in the sun. So
Absolutely.
sun is life. Sun brings us such a lot of positive energy and yes, but we can also do it, bring it, embrace it, maybe just by dancing or doing like music, something what is so helping us to connect to ourselves. So
I'm gonna I'm gonna use that connect part as a segue, as a very subtle segue into this body of work that you have, Paulina. Now, 𝘁𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗿 tells me that you have an extensive history and a lot of organizations that and communities that you're working with, and I would love to know what what got you started there. What got you interested in contributing to these communities?
mhm. Well, so actually, uh, my journey started in 2016, 2017. I was already searching a job after university in Vienna, and I started to volunteer in different organizations and different events. Actually, it was we are developers, and there was the pioneers. So I've got into the startup community, and yeah, I gave like my skills just for free, just because I was still searching a job, but the network is one of the things which we always need. So that's what I started to do. So, and then I saw there was the female founders pool party, and I was like, wow, that looks super cool. Actually, I was pretty broke back then. So I was like, oh my God, I don't want to pay for the entrance. And I would love to, you know, like I feel like I could give them more. I don't need to just, I don't want to be just participant. It's completely different, that I can bring some value by helping to organize it. So actually, I wrote the email. I didn't know even they were searching for volunteers. I wrote email to my future boss, Tanya 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗿. I was like, oh, I would love to have to help you. And yeah, so I started to help, and we organized this awesome female founders pool party in 2016, 17 in summertime. And yeah, that's everything started. All my connection. I've got opportunity to work for Startup Life, as Tanya 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗿 was also managing partner of Startup Life. And yeah, so for me, it was always why I promised myself to never work just for money, you know, like, and I did never suit to the corporate world. Actually, for me, it was more why I'm doing it, because I believe it, because I know that what we are doing brings such a huge value to the community, to startups, or to future female startups. That's why even working crazy hours, yeah, it was always rewarding, because I knew this is why I'm doing it. And I never treated my job as a job, actually. I always treated more like I do it because I believe in it. And it was always fun, you know. If you love what you're doing, you never feel like it's a job.
I
So this is how it all started, like 4 years ago. And you know, startup community in general, all the communities, especially in Vienna, are very small. So then you just build up your connections, and then you get to another community and supporting each other. So that's my story.
That's wonderful. I love that it all started from a from an email that came out of you just on a whim. That's really inspiring. I love it if you could tell us in more detail for our listeners who are probably not aware of it. What is Startup Life and what does it do?
Yeah. So I am a program manager now since 2017 at Startup Life. It's already now a brand of Startup 300 Group, and it's a 3 days, we could say weekend almost program for early stage startups. Before was more dedicated for idea, now we are more for those who are just, you know, working on the prototype, or, you know, have already product and just close to the market. So during these 3 days, we give them a lot of different tools like workshops, like mentoring program, one-on-one mentoring with mentors to give their feedback to their project from different fields like marketing, IT, business, modeling, lawyers, everything we cover during this 1 day. And then they're pitching in front of the jury, investors. So this is the main what we are doing. We have several programs during the whole year. And yes, before we did a lot in Central Europe. So actually before the Corona started, we were traveling and doing these events like live, and especially like countries in the Balkans and, you know, Hungary, even Ukraine, Poland, and etc. And of course, Austria, like Linz, Vienna, Innsbruck, even Germany. So traveling almost every second weekend to different countries to deliver it, the program. And yeah, so this is exactly what Startup Life is about. We help those who are just starting, that they can really get the best out of it. And I know 𝘁𝗵𝗲𝗶 was part of this in February, so she can also give you how she really enjoyed it, the program. How did you like it?
Yeah, it was very agile. A lot of things happen in 3 days. It's actually incredible that one can even come up with a prototype for a solution in such a short time. I really enjoyed the pitch session, and it was recorded. So now I actually have a pitch uploaded on YouTube for people who are interested to see it, which happened at Startup Live.
Awesome.
I want to bridge to the conversation back to female factor as well. We know it's a great emerging community locally, especially, and growing beyond. And we would like to know what's your involvement there? What do you do? What does the community have to offer? Spoiler alert, there's a conference. So tell us a bit, Female Factor.
Sure. So Female Factor is, we are building the global community for future female leaders, because we know there is a still problem or a lack of the female leaders in our society. So we support those women to develop themselves, on the career level, but also the self-development, and giving them the tools and very important in our life. It's mentoring program. So having a mentor who supports you, who gives you the guidelines, gives you even contacts. I also got through my mentoring program with Alex Rufas, and it was life-changing. That's why I'm tuning from Las Palmas as well. And it's just giving the direction, to find maybe what you want to do in your life, or maybe when you change your career, to have someone, who went through this, or who is already there on the leading position to give you this, to share this experience, So this is the first thing, it's mentoring. Also the career program with many master classes, which are also supporting to really learn more and to upgrade the career level. And of course, like as you said, like there is a Limitless Conference, there are series of conferences, and the next one is actually tomorrow on the 5th of May. And the main goal is to give female the confidence, competences, and connections. This is like the 3C, which actually are needed to female to succeed, to become a leader. That's why, I would like to all of you invite for this conference. You can apply.
We will post the link to the conference. Ramon is looking confused a bit. It's called the Limitless Conference, right? And exactly. We are going to post all the links in our show notes.
Yeah, perfect. So it's like, it's gonna be around plus 100 like 1,500 participants, 50 international speakers. And it's gonna be on the first live stream on the 5 global stages in Vienna, in New York, in Bermuda, in Dubai, and Singapore. So it's really, really big, and it's international. And you can see we have like amazing speakers, like even the Dame 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗶 is gonna be there, the pioneering IT entrepreneur. And
I have to admit, I got immediately hooked and bought the ticket to the conference when the schedule came out. Well, the announcement of the speakers came out because of Dame 𝘁𝗵𝗁, Stephanie 𝘁𝗁. It's like I read her book, and I need to be in a conference where she's speaking. It's like insane that you have this high profile, and not just her, high profile speakers. So that was like, for me, like I immediately bought the ticket. And the conference is tomorrow, people, so not too late.
Can still get it. Yeah, exactly. It's all about giving inspiration also, you know, like to give inspiration, to showcase those role models, yeah, to say it like, okay, you can do it. Actually, we can do it. Everyone can do it. Every female, not only female, male also, like everyone can do it. Just believing in ourselves. This is something what is the most important, and fear is blocking us. So that's why those communities, that's why we are supporting those communities to go more global, and everyone have access to that. Everyone has access to this all female future leaders.
That's really inspiring, and I see how you personally grew by the beginning being a volunteer in great communities, and then using basically the products that you are developing, like mentorship, for example, that empowers you to be a digital nomad and live in winter abroad and follow your passion. And I think it's really inspiring, Paulina. Thanks for telling us about it.
Thank you.
And what about the future? What's in the future plan for you after the conference? What's going to happen after the conference?
Yeah, so basically you mean me, or just the female factor generally?
I mean you. We are going to see you, I suppose, at other Startup Life events.
Yeah,
very probable.
Yeah. So actually, at the female factor, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, that I work on volunteer basis. So I support just, you know, more on the community level. So connecting, as for example, women take makers to, you know, to have this possibility for partnership, for free, mutual promotion, or any other partnership that we can support each other and promote our own services or events. So this is what I'm doing, and I am really passionate about that. So yes, I still will be working at the Startup Life. We are, besides Startup Life, we also we are preparing also other masterclasses for startups, and I will be also more engaged in the investment from the Pioneers Venture, a part of our company. So we are also investing in startups. So I will be supporting in the diligence and all this part. And yeah, so I actually have also some business idea around female, more about the female self-development as well, but it's just idea, and I will be happy maybe to showcase what I will be working on in a few months.
That sounds really exciting. Absolutely. You don't have to tell us more and spoil your idea. It's probably just in the beginning. But I mean, it makes total sense, right? Again, you being a target group and developing with this community. So actually, I find that to be a very normal, what comes out of your own development, maybe becoming a female entrepreneur. So that would be really cool too. Exactly. Since Vienna is small, we're going to for sure meet again and partner.
Exactly. And it's always about like trying, you also have you're working also on your own startup. But first, we have still less female entrepreneurs, and also we are more willing to develop solution for female, actually, because we understand our needs and what it has to be done. That some female factor came out, from the same need, because it was like, actually, female factor came out of the female founders, and even they saw it that there is not only need for the female for the founders to get this support and the network, but generally all women who are just working on the corporate level, like on the corporate or any other companies, or even students, So besides also this, only the female founders. So I think that we understand what we need. That's why we can also find a solution for what's lacking, like now, like these communities or other products for us, for ourselves.
I think that perspective is really important, and is a better, so it's having these positions where people can thrive is not only important for all of us moving forward, but also for the future. And having that, as you said, female perspective also empowers not only women, but also men to be able to have these solutions that really empower everybody across the world. Yeah. And I think putting that on a stage is so important and helpful, that we are super thankful for the work you do.
Thank you so much for the kind words. And yeah, it's like, I believe it's not about like, oh, now we are female and we want to, be on the first page only. It's all about like making the table bigger, because we know that actually having diverse team, when we talk about companies, or also when we talk about startups, having the diverse team, it brings way higher value, better decision-making process, because we women, we cannot tell it, but we are different than men. We have a different, personality and how we react. But when we combine, all our best traits, that's when the beautiful things happen, and when we can really like succeed. And so that's why we are working on the gender equality, to just give more opportunities for women. Yeah.
And in your time of doing this, in your opinion, I'd love to hear how have those changes manifested themselves? Have these changes come at a rate that you would say is good, is satisfactory? What can we do to improve this even more?
I think the first is just our awareness about that, about this the topic, about the gender equality. That female, like women, they know about it, but also men, that there is still lack of equality when we talk about like on the job places, to get there are still a question, like when we get not always, but there are still companies who are asking, when you're especially woman, when you're around 30, okay, so you have a husband or you've planned family, so even nowadays when the men are going at maternity leave, like and taking care of the kids. So it's all about the first awareness that there is a problem, and thinking about this bias, that okay, there is something coming from our even childhood, or like the way how we were growing up, that there is still this, we treat a bit differently each other. So this is the awareness, also on the decision-making process when you are HR or the manager. That's, there is not even gender, but also not like, okay, I am the person on the black, or like on different ethnic, or coming from different countries. So it's still about like giving the equal opportunities, because the knowledge and experience is more important than, men or women or coming from different country. And the second thing definitely what helps, it's those organizations who are actually doing the job, like those communities who are giving like all those, like, as I said, like helping to develop future female leaders through all those master classes, self-development for female. So this is I think one of the most important, and teaching our future generation, for our kids and younger, because it will, the gap will change also once we are, when we give the better education about that to the youngest children.
I love that. I love what you said about teaching, because that just instantly clicked what I wanted to get on to next, which is your opinions on teaching and also mentorship. I want to know how these two, in your opinion, intertwine or differ, and how we can use teaching and or mentorship in order to make these opportunities more equalized or equitable.
Mm-hmm. But you mean more already teaching, as I said, like already in school, or it's more about mentoring when you are developing your career level?
Feel free to take that in any direction you want. I ask this question in a way like, interpret it and go with it.
Okay. So as I mentioned, the mentoring, it's a life changing. Once you have a mentor, and the right mentor, when you have a good good vibes between each other, it's actually, this is the it's helping. Even me, when I remember, like, I've got my mentor, it's like I was a bit lost during the pandemic, like, okay, I'm stuck, I'm alone, like, what I have to do, and then you get someone who even structure your thoughts, who gives you like perspective, who listen to you, who maybe went through the same journey, and maybe it pushes you, it's like, to believe more in yourself. Okay, do it, make this one more step, like the next mile. Also give to a person who will give you maybe connection to someone, if you, for example, develop startup, or you want to get promoted, look at your CV, someone who is even giving you some introduction, if this is on the same in the same industry. So there are definitely and it's give person, like female, when we are talking about women, the more confidence. I have someone who is next to me and supporting me. And in the end, we can, after that, we give it to another. So I will be happy to be a mentor for I don't know, the future maybe the after like student, who doesn't know where to go, which direction to develop the career, and I can also guide based on my experience. So I think this is all like mentoring, from giving and getting.
I love that. Thank you so much. So I don't know whether I want to go down the line of becoming a mentor or becoming a mentee. So let's go down the latter. What would you recommend to me as someone who's trying to get into these communities and trying to build up my network, as you said? What are the best first steps that you would recommend towards me to help me find that mentor and find the right one for me?
So that really depends what you are doing and what do you want. There are two things actually. Because, for example, if you want to start your own business, if you have startup, the best is just to go to one of the acceleration programs. There are many on the market. Either this is like our Startup Life, which you have just 3 days, or there are also those who you have to apply and then also get for free or months or 6 months. And then always during those programs, you have different mentors and you talk to them and you see like, wow, this is someone who I love to work, because you click and you know that the knowledge and the experience of the person would really contribute to your project. So this is something like how you can get the mentor, and then you just talk to the person like, look, I would need your guidelines, and etc. There are also special tailor-made programs for when you work on your startup. Yeah, so we give you connect with us like expert based on what you're searching for with the right mentor. So this is once you are working on the startup, either you are male, but also as a female, there is female founders as well. The same what I already mentioned, the application and etc. Or when you want to change your career, you want to go to another industry, or you are seeking a new job, or I don't know, you want to get promoted. Then there are also those organizations like Female Factor, but also like there are many other ones like Female Mission, or others, who are giving the possibility to have a mentor. So you actually, once you are a member, you just apply for 1 to 3 mentors, and you get introduced, like chosen by mentor, and then you start working with him or with her on your goals. But the first thing is, once you want to have a mentor, it's like, why? What are my goals actually? Why I really want to have a mentor? Yeah, it's like having a mentor. Oh, it's nice to have a mentor. No. It's all about like, okay, what exactly I'm looking for, what my goals are, and then I'm talking to the mentor, I'm showing it, and then it's like he or she can really tell like, okay, this is from that point I can help you, and we just work on this. So this is all about the mentoring.
Thank you so much. I sorry to go down that tangent. I've been thinking a lot about mentorship lately. I just gave a talk at a conference about mentorship, and I just love to hear people's opinions about it. And really, I've been thinking a lot about the perspective as how, as a mentor, how you can also learn along with your mentee. And as I love what you said about emphasizing on what the goals of the mentee are, because I think giving the mentee the opportunity to really sit down and think, what do they want, what do they need, and how can they get that, is super critical towards. I sometimes feel like, are you familiar with rubber ducky programming?
With what? I'm sorry.
With rubber ducky programming.
No, I don't know that.
It's one of my I have one here. It's one of my favorite things about it's one of my favorite concepts of programming, where the concept is you try to figure out a problem by trying to explain it to a rubber duck on your desk, right? Put it in the terms that the rubber duck would understand. And I think and by having this rubber duck just listen, right? Allowing you to vocalize your inner thoughts, I think really helps you understand those problems even better. And one of the things that I love to do as a mentor is, more than give advice, is to just listen.
Yeah.
And let the mentee bring their thoughts forward and really bring them home. So which is why I'm so stuck on what you said about what are your goals. I think it's not only a great introductory part, but also a good check-in halfway through a mentor-mentee relationship, just every now and then, just to be like, hey, let's re-examine those goals. Let's see how they look like.
Exactly. And even just by talking, it's just talking, and then you ask the right, mentor ask right questions and help to structure our thoughts, actually. It's because in the end we know what we want, but when we think about it, in the process of thinking, everything gets lost. it gets lost there. So as I'm saying, like mentor is someone who even helps you just to structure your thoughts. This is what you are doing. And I'm very also, and I haven't been mentor yet. So Ramon, like what's your what did you get out of being a mentor? Like what did you learn? What was your experience? That will be also very cool to hear about it.
Oh, sure. I could give you a 52-minute presentation about what I learned.
You have one sentence.
But I'll try and give you the short version. I think that helping first off, mentoring someone accrues so much responsibility on someone as a mentor, because what you're doing is also not just showing them how to accomplish their goals, but you're also kind of showing them how to be a mentor, so that they in the future can go on and become the mentor to somebody else. It's kind of a cascade of ideas. And I think by also re-examining some of the concepts, I'm gonna put it from my perspective, which is from a programming background. By re-examining some of those concepts that you learned in either, let's say, university or very early in your career, and realizing that over time you've been taking things for granted, concepts for granted. When a new idea is presented to you, and you just go like, well, that's the way it is, that's the way these programmers designed this programming language. Coming back and I used to teach children to code, and having a child ask you a question like, I'll give you an example. Let's say here's my tablet, right? I used to make games with children, and having them ask things like, when drawing the character on the screen, right? They have coordinates, an X position and a Y position. And when both of these are 0 in most gaming frameworks, they'll be the origin, the 0, 0 will be at the top left, right? And I always took this for granted. But a child asked me, hey, how come it's at the top left? Because when we do graphs in math class, the origin is always at the bottom left. You know, like when both X and Y are 0, it's at the bottom left. And I had never stopped to think about this. And one of the best pieces of advice I learned from mentoring and coaching was to just stop for a second, and instead of trying to just tell the kid, oh, well, that's just the way it is, or that's just the way it was designed, to actually stop with the child and say, you know what? I don't know, but let's find out now, right? And take them on a journey of discovery. People often joke in programming that the best skill that you have as a programmer is your ability to look stuff up. Either, pasting error messages into DuckDuckGo or Google or what have you, right? Showing them your process, showing them, vocalizing your thinking process. It's extraordinary how much all of this really goes to demystify how these concepts are understood by mentees. A lot of the time in programming, I know because I remember this in my early years. I used to look up to people who were really clever or who were really successful in what they did, and to think that all of their knowledge was right here, front and center on their brain, easily accessible, and all of their tutorials were perfect and all that, all of their presentations on stage were perfect. But to get to know them and to see this demystification, saying, you know what? Actually, these are just human beings with their who have their own knowledge gaps, that over time have just gotten really good at being confident about them and just saying, you know what, I don't know, let's find out. I'm sorry, that was a bit longer than a short answer. I'm sorry.
No, this is exactly like, even mentor can someone say like, okay, I don't know, let's find out, or like let me check it. We are, even if you are a mentor, it's not like you know everything. We always learn. We always learn. And as you said, like kids especially, there are those who are asking questions. I think like we stop kind of asking those questions. We take things for granted. It's like, okay, because it's also maybe how we were we were learning in school. or like at university after, like learn by heart, learn it because it is like that. And you just don't ask even like why it's like that, because okay, you just learn theory, and the life it's not like that. We in the process of growing, we stop asking questions like why it's so this is like super cool to maybe ask more questions, and to even like start thinking
You
from
both
different.
are really inspiring me to go into becoming a mentor, in maybe a more well set up form kind of a way, or even to how to be a better mentee. You're
I
really
think
inspiring. This conversation is really interesting, really
yeah, I
well
think
brought over, I would say.
I
Yeah, definitely. It's always like worth trying. And actually, there is entrepreneurship avenues coming soon for students. Yeah, I will happy be also to connection. Maybe you could apply and be like apply just and be a mentor. It's always a great opportunity. And
Yes, it is. I had some little chances to try this out. For example, at Code Week,
okay.
was very interesting. And it's always dawning on me on some contexts I feel like I'm a mentee, and in some contexts I feel like I could be a mentor. So it's like lifelong learning in a way.
Exactly.
that's it. That is exactly it. I will never forget. I'm sorry. I've got one more story.
Yeah. Tell
I
us.
will.
Oh.
I will never forget when my sister Pilar, who's also a Women Tech Makers organizer, when she got started in programming, she went to a workshop called the Rails Girls Workshop, right? Which used to be more commonly held. She went to one of these events in 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗿, which is a workshop for underrepresented folks to get started in programming, primarily using this Rails programming web framework. Anyway, she did this workshop as a complete newbie, and then a few weeks later, it was being held, I believe, in Linz, and the organizers from Linz said, "Hey, why don't you come in and be a coach?" Right? And the thought was, but how could I be a coach if I only did the workshop 3 weeks ago? And they told her, and I'm never ever going to forget this, and I'm always going to like shout this from the rooftops, because her perspective was so fresh, and because she had been introduced to these problems and stuck on similar problems that those new attendees would probably be stuck on, her perspective actually had held a different and perhaps more powerful value than a coach with decades of experience would have, because she could relate to those things. She could relate to, say, trying to install Ruby on Rails on Windows, which is pretty difficult, and that sort of thing. And I think it goes the other way as well. So like myself, I've been programming for 10 years, but I recently started working as a developer advocate, and I realized that my skills are need work in that area as well, in the whole advocacy side, in the whole outreach side. And so I've taken up a role as a mentee, right? Even though I've got all this experience, it's all relative. And I think this concept of seniority kind of doesn't apply to the mentor-mentee models. That's my rant. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And it doesn't matter, like sometimes exactly even if you have like 20 years of experience or 30 years of experience. We are at our Startup Life coming people, with a startup, they're coming from corporate world, they have like 20 years of experience, but still they're starting startups. So they get some advices from, I don't know, 20 years old people who are really good in coding, for example. So, the majority, like your experience depends like from which industry or you are coming, it's relevant. So as I said, like we're gonna be mentee for all our life, and also we can be mentor as well for all our life. So this
I
is
think
exactly.
that's a good conclusion basically to our discussion of being a mentorship, and what mentorships meant, the whole concept of mentorship can do. And I think it just getting started. It's a powerful tool in gender equality. And I want to give a shout out also to WoMentor, who built the whole business around the whole idea. And I think it's going to have very great positive impact in the community for everybody, mentees, mentors, across age, gender, you name it, cultures, and so on. Bringing the focus back to Paulina, and also trying to naturally go towards an end of a conversation, I'd like to ask you, on the side of advice for our listeners, is there a resource, a person that inspires you, a book, a podcast that you want our listeners basically to take a look at?
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so this is from my personal level more than even like career. It's more from the self-development especially for women. It's about learning, like really discovering ourselves and connecting to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed this is such a huge and powerful tool to really get to know each other, and also from like our body and our menstruational cycle, to work with this, not against, because we are different than men. They have 24-hour cycle, we have a monthly cycle based on our menstruational cycle. And I'm deep dive, like especially like last month, I'm really trying to understand it more and work with this. And there are some podcasts which really inspired me, and books. And I think this is about like to learn about our female energy, and also if we have all male energy, our femininity, and what means to be woman. Once we discover who we really are and we can connect to ourselves, it will improve on every level of our relationship, of our work, and our, it's all about self-love and discovering who I am as a person, my purpose, my goals, and just being happy every day. Because things are changing. We don't know what will happen in the future. The past is already gone, so just being present. So there are books which definitely changed my perspective, like Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, very recommendable to really know why and how to stay present, that this is the ultimate goal. I'm listening to other podcasts mostly on the menstruational, also like to the menstruational cycle. And it's from Cassandra Wilde, for example. This is also what I'm going to work in the future for my small business idea. It's also around that, because I see this is also a very huge taboo topic in a lot of countries about the menstruation, and it's more a shame, and actually we should embrace, because this is the nature of who we are. And once we really start working with this and supporting and embrace our female cycle, everything will go better in our life. So this is another thing, another tool which will help us women to really to develop our life, and even helping in our career. So that's
you.
Topic, so I could speak more about that, but this is I think the self-development and self-love and discovering who I am, not only for women but also for men, it's like the ultimate goal of our life, and what will really makes us happy.
Thank you very much for bringing it back to our, to ourself and to our individual, and also giving us a hint what you're probably going to go into in the future on your own entrepreneurial path. Who knows? Thanks a lot. We'll make sure to put this notes in the show notes, these links. If you have any further such resources, we can exchange through email. If you want to share with the audience, that would be great. Ramon, you want to ask something?
Thank you. I think as we close, I would just like to give one more opportunity, Paulina, for you to give us the conference, the conference date, the conference name, like guide our listeners there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there are two things which I would like to invite you. The first is like tomorrow's Limitless Conference of the Female Factor. Please go on the website and register still like as soon as possible and have this possibility to be part of this. It will be online. It will be also live stream in many locations. So you will get all the information about it. And yes, also if tomorrow you are busy, just also check the Female Factor and how you can become a member. It doesn't matter where you are living because everything is online. So actually you can apply for them being for having a mentor or being a mentor, yeah, or yes, all other master classes, etc. So this is the one thing I would really recommend you to all the listeners. And another thing, if you are working on your business, you already need some more boost, more support on your business side. If you have an innovative startup, I would like to invite you to apply for our Startup Life program. There is also open application. Probably there will be one in June coming up. So I will also give the link that you can check it. And in any case, you can always contact me. I will be happy to answer all questions regarding either Startup Life or the Female Factor or any other questions. Even if you want to connect and just have a chat, or you need some connections as well, maybe I will be happy I will be able to help.
On that note, Paulina, what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I have a LinkedIn that we will pin, that you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I think this one thing, and another one will be an email address of either Female Factor or Startup Life. But the best is, I think, it will be to pin pin to this conversation. That's the easiest way to connect with me. Yeah.
Yes, we'll make sure again to add a way for people to contact you.
Copious amounts of links.
Yes.
I'm happy to get some new connections, or get email, even to say hi.
Thank you. Well, Paulina, this has been an absolute pleasure. I cannot thank you enough for coming on today. Talking to you has been wonderful. Thank you for indulging me on my side notes about mentorship. And thanks again. And I wish you the most wonderful day, the best success with the conference and all of your efforts moving forward. You've been an inspiration to us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here, and I could share my experience. And so I hope we will tune in soon again.
Absolutely. Have a nice day, everybody, and see you next time, or listen to us next time. Bye.
Thank you.
See you later.
Are you on the forefront of gender equality? You are invited to our podcast.
That's right. Or maybe you know somebody that we can have a chat with. We'd love to have you on.
Subscribe to us on YouTube not to miss an episode. And also follow us on Twitter at 𝘁𝗶𝗿 and on your favorite podcatcher.
And hey, if you like what you're listening to, please throw us a review or give us a like. Thank you.